soul food. Hit me. Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get to Henry's at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856. Soul food. Henry's soul food. What do we need? Soul food. Henry's soul food.
Welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show, brought to you by Golden Crust Bakery, the fastest growing Caribbean-owned franchise in the United States. Golden Crust is committed to the delivery of quality food and excellent customer service. Visit them today at goldencrustbakery.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Armstrong Williams Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I see Alex is in the studio today. We'll see if he has anything to say. Alex, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Armstrong.
Bobby Fleisher, Dr. Fleisher, how are you?
Good afternoon to you, too.
Wow, I can only imagine what you must have felt when you realized what was going on at the Navy Yard in Washington, D.C.
Horrified.
It's horrifying, isn't it?
Horrified. It's unbelievable that this is all happening in our country.
It is, and you know, you can pass all the tight gun laws, any law in the book, but if somebody walks through security, go to the bathroom, shoot the guard, then take their pistols and start shooting everybody else, no gun law, no gun legislation can stop it. Not that.
No, this is true. This is true. There is not legislation for this. There has to be better security to not let them in. But if they didn't let them in there, he might have gone somewhere else. I agree that this is dreadful.
You know, the thing about it is they dumbed down the program to get recruits in because they were not just getting the register, and they allowed criminals with child molestation charges, narcotics, drugs, and Aaron. You dumb it down and there's a lower bar, and look at what it leads to.
I don't know even where to begin with this, because there were so many lapses in security for this. He was so clearly raised so many red flags that so many people noticed that there was something terribly wrong with this person. Of course, he shouldn't have been permitted to buy a gun. But that's just one aspect of what went wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. You know, let me ask you this as a mother. What would happen to you if you were watching this unfold and all of a sudden you start hearing your son's name? And then you realize it was your child that carried this massacre out. As a mother, what do you do?
I can't imagine the devastation. And his mother, I know, is devastated. From what she said, she didn't begin to defend him or anything else. She knew that he was very bad. Of course, I have no idea what went on in that house. But he was obviously mentally ill. I don't know whether his mental illness was ignored by his parents, whether it erupted when he was in his 20s, as so often happens with schizophrenia, if that is indeed what triggered this. I mean, hearing the voices and the paranoia is just, and people knew this. This wasn't something that, where you say, oh, the neighbor said he was such a nice boy, and he kept to himself, yes, but he was all. People knew that he was mentally very ill.
But even as a parent, there are many parents know that there's something that's right about their children. There's something unstable and something that's very dark about their child, but they never believe it's going to translate to a massacre.
No.
I mean, parents experience this all the time, but to actually know that it's your child that committed this act. Did you hear that mother apologizing to that family?
Yes. Yes.
It was heart-wrenching.
Yes, it was. It is.
And would you as a mother feel responsible and partly to blame? Why?
Of course, because as a mother, I feel responsible for my kids, for their upbringing, for if I didn't know that this was going on, if I knew, the mental illness. If I knew there was mental illness and did nothing, I would feel. I feel responsible for a lot of things that my kids do. And they're great kids, but I know that I would feel responsible.
Do you
think that she doesn't feel responsible?
Could you heal from that though?
I don't think I could ever heal from that. I don't think I could. I don't know. I don't know what I would do to help myself at that point. The legal system is going to take care of him at this point. But I don't know what I could do to heal myself.
How do you still love that child unconditionally? Because that would be an incredible bar of love. Would your feelings change? Would you feel differently about that child? What does a mother go through in times like these?
It's hard for me to believe that love is withheld. I think that I would love my child, but that doesn't mean that I approve or defend or make statements that would indicate that it was not his fault. I would feel very responsible. I think that I would still have love. I can't picture anything my child does that I would not love that child, but that doesn't mean that I would not be absolutely devastated.
And you would certainly find yourself weeping for that child in the family. And then the other thing you'd probably weep for is, how did I not know? How did my child fall so far? How did he get so far removed from reality? How is this possible?
Well, I can't imagine that I would not have known that there, as you said, that there's a dark side, that there was some great need for attention to this problem.
And do you know he wrote and scripted on his gun, "There's no other way"? It had to be this way.
What did he write on his bed?
It had to be this way. He inscripted that on his shotgun.
That's what he...
It had to be this way.
I don't know. I can't picture a parent not knowing this about the child. I just can't picture that at all. No, it's something that I can't even understand how this can be.
We're really talking to parents. How do parents overcome and live with the horror if this was your child? We don't talk about that perspective, but I don't blame the mother. I feel so horrible for that mother.
No, I'm not saying that somebody else might blame. I know that I would blame myself.
Oh, that's different, though. That's different.
For not knowing that there was something, that this was that my child was capable of doing such a heinous thing. I would feel that that's why I would be responsible. Not that I raised my child to do this, but that I didn't know.
But you know what?
I didn't prevent.
When your child leaves your care and protection and go out on their own, they can become something entirely different. I mean, he got into this church, he got into this cult. Sometimes parents cannot even connect or relate to their own children. They become strangers.
Well, yes, I hadn't thought of it that way, that he might have gotten into a cult. I was thinking that this particular person was mentally ill, and that doesn't start suddenly, that there would have been some signs that there was illness. I can't picture thinking, oh, there is such illness, he may get a gun and shoot people. But that there was illness and that the child needed a great deal of attention. I don't think that happens suddenly. I think the hearing of the voices may be something that may occur in the 20s, but that there is this capacity for a terrible act, I think may appear earlier in their lives. I don't know for sure. I haven't experienced this myself. But
does your heart pour out for the mother?
Oh, yes. Absolutely goes out for the mother. I mean, I can't picture this mother recovering from anything like this, ever healing from something like this. Of course, we don't, and we don't know very much about it. At least I don't. Not as much as come out.
Hold there. I was just informed that Howard Berg has finally decided to join the conversation. We'll come back to him on the other side of this break. Bobby Fleisher, terrific conversation from a mother's perspective. I'm Armstrong Williams. We'll be back.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Crust's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Crust near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrustBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. What does it mean to be conservative? Freedom of speech, freedom of free enterprise, freedom of assembly, less government, less taxes. As a matter of fact, a flat tax. Everyone should pay proportional tax. It doesn't matter whether you make 100 million or 10,000. Everyone should pay their 10%. Everyone should have something at stake in this American economy. I'm Armstrong Williams expressing what we mean by conservative traditional value.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices,
hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Howard Berg, welcome to the show, man. We've been waiting for you.
I thought you were calling me. It said on my sheet I was getting called, so when I didn't hear from you, I said, I better call in. Something's not right.
Something was definitely wrong. Yeah, we were looking for it. I know Dr. Fleisher know all about Howard Berg, who's one of the world's fastest reader. He feels by improving your memory and increasing learning through reading, our brain can combat the ails of aging. You've seen him on Jon Stewart, Good Morning America, Kathy Lee, and Regis, and now he joins us. I was fascinated about having you on because I love to read, I love to exercise, I love brain teasers, but, this is what you spent your life studying, so share with us your findings, and what is it that keep the brain young?
Well, there was actually two studies, Baltimore and Seattle, longitudinal studies on aging, and they both said that people in their 80s that continued reading showed a much lower incidence of Alzheimer's and dementia. It didn't prevent the disease, it slowed it down, it slowed the progression down, and for many people it gave them a much longer period in their lives where they had a higher value of learning and functioning, and enabled them to enjoy their twilight years with much more success than people who hadn't read.
Dr. Fleisher?
Well, I'm very happy to hear that, and I certainly agree with that. First of all, when I was before I retired, I taught reading specialists and teachers who are not yet, who are becoming teachers, how to teach reading, and so I'm very committed to the reading process, and of course I've just written a book, so I'm very committed to that, and of course still love to read. What I'm intrigued about is the speed reading, because you are billed to me as the fastest reader in the world.
Yes.
How do you do it?
Well, I was on Cavuto. I read the healthcare bill, the first one, in 50 minutes, the 1,500-page bill.
Oh, my goodness.
And I read the 2,600-page bill in 90 minutes, and then I did an analysis. What's exciting is I'm teaching it. I had a young man pass the bar at 19 in California. Another one got his master's degree in math at 19 with a 3.97 GPA.
Wow.
Another did 4-year college in 6 months. And I had a senior. Her name was Ruth Lubin. She lived in Pasadena, so she was a little old lady from Pasadena. And the day after the program, she read 3 books in 3 hours, and she called me up to tell me how exciting it was, that she was thrilled that at her age she could do something like that. She had so many more things she wanted to learn and do, and now she'd be able to accomplish it. Made me feel really
What
good.
is your formula? Help take us through the baby steps.
Sure. Well, the first step is why we read slowly and then how to fix it. When you're driving in a car, you go like 70 miles an hour on a highway, and you're reading the road, and it's in front, back, left, and right. And instead of being bored, overwhelmed, you're bored. You turn on the radio, you talk to people, you watch your GPS, and you read a book about 200 words a minute. You're lucky if you know the name of the book and who wrote it when you're done. And the difference is, in a car, everything seems to be a movie, very visual. In a book, it seems like someone's talking in back of your head and pronouncing one word at a time. So in that, we're actually using our eyes when we read to hear a book instead of see it. And what I found was a way to make it more visual, more like a movie, and I'd be happy to share that with you if you'd like.
Of course we'd like for you to share it.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, first I'd like people, when they're done with the show, not right now, find a book you read. I want to make sure the only thing that could confuse you is your speed and not the content of the book. Since you already know what's in the book, if you don't know what you're reading, it's because you're going too fast, not because the book's too hard. And for a minute, you can use a timer on a watch. Some of you have smartphones, or even use an egg timer in the kitchen. Time yourself for a minute. Go to the first page of the first chapter. Just read for a minute the way you read. And at the end of the minute, just take a little pencil and tick off where you finished so you can see how far you went in a minute. So we have a measurement. Now I'm going to show you the secret sauce to go 10, 15, 20% faster. I want you to go to the next chapter. You're going to use your left hand, and you're going to move it from the left to the right margin one line at a time and have your eye following your hand. Keep speeding up till you don't know what you're reading so you find your ceiling, and then slow it down just enough so your comprehension comes back. And then for about 10 minutes, practice using your left hand to draw your eye across the page one line at a time as quickly as you can comprehend. After doing that for 10 minutes, go back where you started on the first chapter. Again, time yourself for a minute. This time use your hand and see what happens, and you're going to be amazed. You'll go 10, 15, maybe even 20% further. This is the first step in turning on the camera and shutting down the voice. And it's really easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's actually a lot of fun, and it'll show you just how easy it is to increase your reading speed by as much as 100 to 400% faster. That takes about 2.5 hours. But this is something you can do right away. It's totally free. It's easy to learn, and I think you'll be amazed with your results.
I can't wait to try this.
Well, thank you. You'll find it really, really helpful. There's just so much information. Did you know it doubles every 6 months? In fact, there's more printed in 1 week in the New York Times than someone in the 18th century learned in their lifetime. And that's why people feel so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They feel overwhelmed because information's growing at an unprecedented rate, and nobody has taught them how to process it at the speed needed to stay on top of it. They're still using the same strategies people used in the 18th century, when virtually nothing was being printed.
Yeah.
And now, of course, everything's based on using information. So a lot of seniors feel they're getting left behind by all the new things going on. They just don't have time. And these things are really important. They could add so much more quality.
Are there particular courses? Are there certain things that parents should do when the child is in the mother's womb or when they're born, or reading and toys and then early on? Is there certain things they should do to help in that development?
Actually, there's a few things. I just read an interesting article in Scientific American that said that babies actually can hear in the womb, and they're actually learning words. I never heard of this before. It's the first time I ever saw this as a study, and they said that as they get older, they're able to do some kind of a test to show that they actually absorbed information in the womb, which I thought was phenomenal, and I would not have believed that was possible. But here's a trick you can use with youngsters who hate to read, and a lot of you have those kids. And the problem is when you give them a book, it's like, I don't want to do this. So here's the secret. If you have a youngster who doesn't want to read, find something they do love. Like my son, he loved video games, absolutely loved video games. So I bought him a subscription to the Sony PlayStation book. And every month, the magazine would show up, and sure enough, he would run to the magazine and devour it. Became the best gamer in his school, but I was more interested in the fact that he was reading. It didn't matter to me that he wasn't reading history or science. He was reading. And when he got older, that ability to read translated into professional success in his life. And so if you've got a youngster who likes baseball, get him a sports magazine. A young girl, maybe get her a 17. Whatever it is they love, you don't have to tell them to read it. They're going to read it because they love what's in the magazine. It doesn't matter if it's something that you want them to read. What matters is they want to read. And as a result of reading that material, their skill level will go up. And when they get older and more mature and make better choices, that ability to read will translate into success in many other areas of their lives. So it's such a simple, easy-to-use strategy for any parent that's listening.
When many years ago, Evelyn Wood, the Evelyn Wood method was a big thing. Is this related to that in any way?
Good you mentioned that. I'm actually friends with the two past owners. One is Tommy Thompson. He was the chairman, and he endorsed me. And Doug Hall was the president. The problem with Evelyn Wood, very good program, certainly was groundbreaking at the time, sort of like color television before HD was a big breakthrough.
Right.
Now HD, much better. The problem they had was you did get faster, but you had to read fast all the time. They trained you through mechanical strategies to double to triple your reading speed, and it did work. But then you read something you were enjoying and you slowed down, or it was unfamiliar material. You didn't know any of the words. The ideas were confusing. You slowed down, and when you slowed down, you lost your conditioning, and you went right back to reading slowly again, and they couldn't figure out how to fix it. I can actually show you how to fix it now. I studied this in psychobiology. That's what I actually was trained in. And I found a way to slow people down when they want to and immediately go right back to their super fast speed when they need to, and they don't lose it. May I share with you what I did?
Oh, yes.
There's a concept in psychology. It's called schema, because they like to use big words. What it really means is what you know already. So if I'm reading a book and it says the woman drank a glass of water, I don't say stop. What's a woman? What's a glass? What's drinking? Because you know what those things are, as compared to look at the Agilis Phoenicius. That doesn't really help. It's very specific, but your world doesn't include that word, so it's basically a foreign word, doesn't mean anything. I'm going to read a passage. The word is simple, but the scheme is missing. Then I'm going to read it again with one new word, a title, and watch how instantly you go from confusion to complete understanding. You ready? Here's the seamless text. This is an easy thing to do. If possible, you could do it at home. You could always go someplace else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This may be a major mistake and cost you quite a bit of money. Would it be safe to say right now you don't really know what I'm talking about? It's just too vague. Correct?
Yes.
Watch what happens with a one-word title, how everything totally makes sense. Just one word.
Okay.
Laundry. Laundry. This is an easy thing to do. Possible you could do it at home. You could always go someplace
Hold there. We're coming back. Don't go away. This is a fascinating show. Don't go away.
Got it.
Hi, Mike Reagan here. The president has just delayed his Obamacare employee mandate for 1 year. But nothing has changed. The Congressional Budget Office still predicts 7 million Americans will lose their current insurance, and thousands of rules are being implemented today. Obamacare is over 20,000 pages, almost 3 times longer than the whole IRS tax code. Worse, the IRS is now in charge of enforcing the law. You need to protect yourself, your family, and your business with the easy-to-read guide. It's called the Obamacare Survival Guide. Already a #1 New York Times bestseller, Newsmax calls it the best guide to the new law. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide today at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Welcome back to the Armstrong Williams Show, and thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Bobby Fleisher, and the baby boomers, learning new strategies for staying mentally fit. Do you find this more in women or men, and why and why not?
Actually, it helps everybody. There is an interesting difference, though, between women and men that most people may not realize. Their brains are wired differently. We see that in behavior, but here's the big thing. The left and right brain hemispheres in a woman have more wiring connecting both sides. One side is more emotions, and one side is more intellectual. So men can either think or feel. So the worst thing a woman can ask a man is, tell me how you feel about me. Men can either tell you how they feel, or they can either feel or talk. It's very hard for a man to talk about their feelings, whereas for a woman it seems very natural. And so they often will feel like the man is slighting them or ignoring them or isn't showing them respect, when in fact it's a difference in how their brains are wired, and both of them are being completely honest. The man's having a very hard time explaining his feelings, and the woman's very confused why he can't do something that's so simple.
Is that you obviously think it's nature and not nurture. I've often thought that men don't. I mean, I've noticed the phenomenon, of course, and my feeling is that men don't seem to haven't developed the vocabulary of feeling.
You're correct. You're correct that there is a nurture and a nature part, but the commissure that connects the two hemispheres. Mm-hmm. There are far more nerve endings connecting the left and right brain in a woman than in a man. Mm-hmm. So as much as it's a learned thing, it's also a physiological thing. There's actually a physiological reason why men have trouble explaining their emotions. Now, that doesn't mean all men can't like that, or that it can't be overcome through some training and effort.
Yes.
But the average man has a terrible time explaining his feelings to a woman, and that's one of the reasons, well, actually even to a man. It's just not something that comes naturally in a male. So you would be correct that you can learn to overcome it. It does take some training, though. It's not the natural thing for most men to be able to do that.
Well,
we got to get busy on that, don't we?
Yeah, the problem is most men aren't interested in being trained. It's not that they don't need to be, as much as they don't want to be. They think it's okay the way they are.
Yes,
of
course.
So you really believe you can develop the brain to read at the speed of lightning?
I could actually, well, yes. Not the speed of light, but certainly a page and a half a second. That's not quite the speed of light. But
now, the left hand guiding your eye, is that something that eventually you don't need to do, or when you read, for example?
That's a good question.
Do you still use your left hand to guide your eye?
I always read faster with my hand than without. I can read faster without my hand than most people can read under any condition. Mm-hmm. But the hand does play an important role, sort of like a baton in an orchestra. Every member of that orchestra can play their instrument. But it helps to have someone standing up front that's doing the coordinating. And that hand helps to keep the eye more engaged and helps to offset certain problems that occur when it isn't there. So you always do read quicker with your hand than without. There are some ways of doing it without the hand that are very effective, but never as effective as using the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about how special could this be in athletes, that they could combine this with their natural gifts. Talk about that.
A lot of things athletes need to do is they have to learn the different games, the game strategies. Like a football player, they have lots of plays. A basketball player, they have a lot of plays. One of the one of the problems is, I mean, this is not a universal, but many people that get heavily involved in sports, many of them are not necessarily outstanding in academics. That's not completely true. But by and large, a lot of people go into athletics because it's their way into college, and they do get a degree, and it's respectable, but, you know, they're not studying quantum physics for a reason. And what this does is it increases their capacity to learn. So suddenly, their limits are pulled back. They can do things they couldn't do before. Not only can they learn the plays better, they can also take better control over themselves. Because one of the big things in success, and this is often unspoken, it's called emotional intelligence. And it's the single most important thing that determines whether you win or lose in life, not just in sports. Your ability to communicate with other people and get along, your ability to control yourself. I mean, how many athletes have you seen thrown off a game and fined hundreds of thousands of dollars for doing something really stupid, like punching someone or hitting a referee or behaving in an unprofessional way? And the same thing's true in school. Many students that are intelligent, capable of doing very well, they lack self-control. And they end up getting in trouble and not doing well in school, not because they lack intellectual ability, but because nobody ever taught them how to change an emotion. Would you like me to show you how to do that?
Yes, please.
Okay. If possible, I know if you're in your car, this is not something you want to be doing. You can do it later.
We're in the studio, so we're good. We're in the studio.
Okay, well, you guys are, but there are people listening to you in a car, and probably having them stand up would not be the best. I don't recommend standing up if you're in a truck or car, but you can do this later. And if you're not, and you can stand up, this would be a good time to do so. And we know the left brain controls the right, and the right controls the left. I'm going to show you how to get an unlimited energy whenever you need it. So if you're in a boring meeting or class, or you're taking a standardized test, or you're stuck in traffic and need a boost of energy and can't get out of the car, this will work. If you touch your left hand to your right shoulder and then your right to your left alternately, it's not just the Macarena without music, it's a brain massage. And if you do the same thing, but now touch your left hand to your right knee and then your right hand to your left knee, you'll find you have to think a little bit more because both sides of your brain are being involved at the same time. Now make a fist with your right hand, and with your thumb in your fist, go, I feel great, yes, like you mean it. Go ahead. I feel great, yes.
I feel great, yes.
Perfect. We're going to do 3 sets of these, and when we're done, I'm going to show you how to use this to trigger energy. And if you have kids in school, share this with them. We're going to do 3 sets, starting with the shoulder taps, left to right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knee taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make a fist. I feel great, yes. Do it. I feel great, yes.
I feel great, yes.
We'll do it again, this time faster. The shoulder taps first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make the fist. I feel great, yes.
I feel great, yes.
One more time. Sprint it as fast as you can. Shoulder taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Squeeze your thumb. I feel great, yes.
I feel great, yes.
Yes. Now here's what happens when you do it 3 times. Nothing. But you do want something. So I'm going to show you to get something. You don't want to just do that. I thought you'd like that. It actually can be useful. What you're doing, remember Pavlov? You rang a bell, you forgot a dog, rang a bell. Eventually
made all the dogs salivate, right?
Right. You don't want to salivate. That's not your goal. But you do want more energy. What you did is you stimulated one side and then the other side, both together, and you went faster and faster so you got more oxygen to your brain. Felt more alert than when you started.
Uh-huh.
Each time you felt a little better, you squeezed your thumb and said, I feel great, yes. That's your bell. You don't want to be in the middle of a business meeting and start tapping your shoulders or in the middle of a quiz. It's probably not a good idea. But you can grab your thumb, even in traffic, and say, I feel great, yes. And if you do this every day, 3 times, every day for a month, 2 months, then the day when you actually need to feel great, when you actually need that energy that you feel at the end of this drill, by squeezing your thumb, just like ringing a bell, and saying, I feel great, yes, you will.
And then I'll start to drool.
And you won't you start to drool, right? So, in fact, there's actually a program called RuleReading.com. It's on the website, RuleReading.com. And it teaches the reading and the emotional drills and a lot of other skills people might be interested in using with them. For the kids, it helps in school. For the parents, it helps at work. And for the seniors, they stay mentally fit. Everybody wins.
Talk about
if we have time, I could show you a few more tricks.
Talk about nutrition and exercise.
Very important. I actually swim every morning. I swim 1.25 miles in the morning, and I bike 8 miles every night, every day. It's very important. The studies have shown that exercise does many things for the brain they didn't even realize. It increases the ability to remember and learn. It actually stimulates the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for turning things into long-term memory. It's a very small part of the brain. As we grow older, one of the reasons many seniors have trouble with memory, that part of the brain, the cells start to die, and they aren't replaced quickly enough, and they lose some of this capacity for long-term memory. In fact, people with dementia, that's the part that's being attacked. Mm-hmm. And they found that exercise stimulates that region of the brain to actually create more cells and helps you to stay more mentally fit, even when you're younger.
Hold that point. We're coming back. Isn't this fascinating? We're going to open up the phone lines. 1-866-801-8255, 1-866-620-6620. Oh, yes. Howard Berg is in the house. We'll be back.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Crust's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Crust near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrustBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sports shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
So let's talk about the food and the exercise, Howard.
Okay. We talked about exercise a little. Let me talk a little about food, because this is actually a good question. Did you know that eating eggs and pancakes is not the same as eating pancakes and eggs? Now, I know at first it says, well, what are you talking about? It's the same meal. No, it's not the same meal. If you're trying to have an active morning, trying to have high energy, you're trying to be able to stay focused and not get sleepy, you want to eat the eggs first. Whichever food group you eat first, if you eat the protein first, it helps to keep the brain awake. If you eat the starchy food first, the pancakes, the toast, the French toast, the roll, the croissant, if you eat that before you eat the protein, you're going to find that you get sleepy about an hour and a half, 2 hours after the meal, which is why so many people in the afternoon around 1:30, 2:30, they start getting drowsy because they had a crappy lunch. They had a glass of soda, which is like 18 spoons of sugar, and then they ate a roll or some fries or something else very starchy, some potato chips, before they actually ate any meat. So it's really important, if your goal is to stay alert, you can have the starch, you can have the sugar, but after you eat the protein, the brain processes it differently, the body processes it differently, it'll give you more energy. Now, the time to eat the starchy food first is you're jittery, you're overstimulated, you can't relax, you can't focus, your day is having you go in circles, you need to shut down. You need to take a step back and get a breather. Now a big bowl of pasta or a cookie or something which is high in sugar is going to help you to slow yourself down. And there's a time for it. There definitely is a time for it. So by following that strategy, protein first and then the starch, if you're trying to stay alert and awake, or the starch first and then the protein, if you're trying to slow down, unwind, and relax. Both things have their time and place. Most people would agree, starting the day off at work or school, you want the protein. When you come home after a very long day and you want to unwind and you stretch out, maybe watch a show with your family, take some time out, that's the time to have the starch first. Did that help?
Well, I wonder about children. If it's the same, I know that adults and children are different in many ways. Yes. But, you don't want to feed children a lot of sweets because then they get on a sugar high. And
absolutely.
That's absolutely not what you want to do when you want them to settle down.
No, what you really want to do is try to encourage children to have more sugar from fruit. The sugar in fruit doesn't digest the same way as the sugar in candy.
Yeah.
And cake and an ice cream. The sugar in fruit is a slower release. So it'll give them a burn. So let's say they're playing sports, they're in a soccer league or a little league or a football league. It'll keep them running. It'll keep them moving. It'll give them the energy they need without spinning around like a top. A lot of the processed foods we have for dessert, they're really very good to eat as far as taste. Mm-hmm. They're extremely unhealthy for our bodies. And so my feeling is moderation. Don't have them every day. I don't eat those things on a regular basis. I do eat them. Everybody likes a piece of cake once in a while or some soda once in a while. But I only have soda maybe once or twice a month. I have cake maybe once a month or a cookie once or twice a month. It's not good to have it on a regular basis every day. One, it's addictive. The parts of the brain that crave those foods, it's the same parts, and this has been done with brain scans, it's the same part of the brain that gets addicted to drugs. The same areas light up. They did a study on rats, and they found if you fed them like really bad food, like croissant buns, the cinnamon buns that have like 10,000 calories, and chocolates and stuff, which they normally don't eat. Once they start eating it, you could give them electrical shocks every time they eat. They won't stop. They feel so good eating that food that even the pain of an electric shock isn't enough to deter them from overeating bad food, and they think that's what's happening in human beings. They've gotten addicted to the fats and sugars that have been forced on them by processed foods, and it's so addictive that even though they're not hungry and they should feel satiated, the pleasure centers in the brain are craving, just like an addict, more stimulation. And so we eat more cookies, we eat more donuts, we drink more soda, we have more ice cream and cake. Not good for our health. So it's actually a food addiction problem. It's not just a nutrition problem, and it's a very serious one. And that's where parents can help by not exposing their kids to an excessive amount of those foods. Make them a special thing. On a birthday, you should have a birthday cake, but not every day. Not every day. And that makes a big difference.
Going back to our reading skills, what about the trends of the future of reading, like the Kindles and the iPads? Are they helping us as people, or are they hurting us?
I was actually the spokesperson for the Sony e-reader. I know you might have saw me with Justin Timberlake and Peyton Manning on the commercials about 2 years ago. I think it's the future of reading. I think the statistics on Amazon are there's 4 downloads for every physical book being sold. It kind of reminds me when records turned into CDs, and now CDs are turning into MP3s. I think that the day of the printed book is numbered for a lot of reasons. It's a lot less expensive to do a download than to print a book. I like the physical book for a lot of reasons. There are some advantages to it. You can turn the pages a lot quicker than you can on an electronic reader. But there's some real good things about these electronic readers. For example, I can hold about 200-300 books in my reader when I'm on a plane, and I could probably read them on my way to wherever I'm going. When I take one physical book on a plane and it takes me 5 minutes to read it, I haven't got anything to do for the rest of the 4-hour trip. So I like the fact that I can take a lot of books. A lot of those books are reference books on things that I need to know in case I have to do something, and I can just click on it and I get to it quickly. So I do like them. I think there's a time and place for them, and it is part of my program that I have on rulereading.com. I do cover how to read on a computer screen and how to read on an e-reader, because I know more and more people are reading in that medium. In fact, college today, most students will not see textbook. Most textbooks today are online. Most exams are online. The reports are online. Everything is done on the internet, over the internet. And so it's really important that people become literate about this medium, and especially the seniors. You know, a lot of them are uncomfortable because it's so different than what they were used to. But if that's where the future is, and you want to be part of the future and not just live in the past, then you need to continue to grow as a person and push yourself to learn more. And I think that it's healthy. That's why I was so thrilled when Ruth Lubin read 3 books at 84 years old, and she read them in 3 hours. My oldest student was actually in Denver, and she read at 94. I got her 100% faster. So when someone says, I'm too old, I'm 40, I say, really? She was 94. She doubled. What's stopping you? So it's not an age thing. It's about, what do you want from your life? Do you want to talk about the things you want to accomplish, or do you want to accomplish them? Reading opens up the gate to learning and knowledge. And when you have that ability to learn new things and learn them quickly, there is nothing you can't do. There's no such thing as being unemployed. You can read books on how to start your own company and make your own world, your own success, not wait for someone else to give it to you. But when you don't know what to do and how to do it, you feel lost. And it hurts me to watch people crying how they lost their jobs and they don't know what they can do. I had a group of children aged 11 to 15 who took my program in my school. They started a company to raise money for Downs research and made $93,000 in their first year of business, and they won the Silver Pyramid, which is the Academy Award in advertising. If an 11-year-old can make $93,000 in their first year of business and win the Academy Award in advertising as an adult, why would anybody want to find a job if a child can do it? The only difference between those people and these kids is these kids had the system. They knew how to learn, and they weren't waiting for someone to show them what to do. They took initiative, found someone who knew how to do it, and wrote a book and learned it. And that's the secret for the future of this country. The old way is gone. The assembly lines are disappearing. The old jobs are disappearing. The people who are going to be successful and have decent lives are going to be working for themselves, are going to produce their own wealth. And it's not that hard to do if you follow a template of people who are doing it and succeeding. You do what works. And I'm trying to get on shows like this to share with people that, yes, there is a way to learn how to do this, and it only takes 4 hours. And isn't it worth 4 hours of your time so that you can have a life and give your family a life? And that's exactly why I'm here, and that's why I've been sharing so many things today.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. How can someone find out more?
RuleReading.com.
Yeah. And do you have a website?
Is that R-U-L-E?
Yes, like a ruler, R-U-L-E reading. It's actually, they can try it for a full month, risk-free. I even give them my contact information. I will personally help them. I don't have customer service. I have me. I feel you're not here to sell something. You're here to help people have a successful experience. And no one knows it better than I do. So when someone has a problem, they call me, I fix it. And I don't get a lot of calls. I couldn't do this all day. I don't get any calls, really, because I made it so easy to learn. People can succeed by themselves. But just in case, if they need me, I will help them. I want them to be successful.
Well, thank you for joining us, and all the best.
I appreciate it, and I'd love to come back on another time.
And
Thank
you will.
For having
You will.
me.
Dr. Fleisher wasn't so bad today. Thank you, Dr. Fleisher.
Oh, I can barely hear you now. It was a pleasure. I learned so much. As soon as I hang up,
Yes. Good day, everybody.
use my left hand to learn to read faster.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new